The numbers danced before my eyes, matching one by one, like some cosmic joke coming to life. 6, 12, 24, 33, 41, 47. I must have checked those numbers 50 times before my hands started shaking so badly I dropped my phone. My name is Savannah, and I just won $8.2 million in the state lottery. Helen, I screamed into my phone the moment my best friend picked up. I won. I actually won. Won what? The battle against your mom's guilt trips? Helen's laugh crackled through the speaker. The lottery. The actual lottery. I'm not kidding. Get over here now. 20 minutes later, Helen burst through my apartment door without knocking, still wearing her scrubs from her hospital shift. Show me, she demanded, practically tackling me on my couch. We spent the next hour screaming, jumping around my tiny living room, and planning all the ways this money could change lives. Not just mine, others too. I can finally start that women's entrepreneurship fund I've been dreaming about, I said, my mind racing with possibilities. Help other women break free from. My phone buzzed. Mom's face appeared on the screen. Honey, her voice was syrupy sweet, the tone she always used when she wanted something. Your father and I just saw the announcement. We're coming over. Before I could protest, she hung up. Helen squeezed my hand. Want me to stay? I nodded. Please. 30 minutes later, my parents arrived. Dad's usually stern face was lit up with an unfamiliar smile, and Mom was practically bouncing as she hugged me. Our prayers have been answered, Mom exclaimed, sitting down on my second-hand couch like she owned it. This is exactly what the family business needs. My stomach dropped. What? The business, sweetheart. Dad jumped in, his voice unusually animated. We've been struggling since the recession hit. This is perfect timing. We can expand the warehouse, hire more staff. Wait, I interrupted, my voice sharper than intended. I haven't even decided what I'm doing with the money yet. Mom's smile faltered. What do you mean? Of course you'll invest in the family business. It's your inheritance, anyway. I was actually thinking of starting a community fund, I said carefully, to help women entrepreneurs get their start. A what? Dad's smile vanished. Savannah, this is family we're talking about. The business your grandfather built from nothing. The business that's been bleeding money for years, I countered. The one you refuse to modernize despite everyone's advice. Don't be selfish, Mom snapped, her words cutting through the air like a knife. Family comes first, always. Helen cleared her throat. Maybe Savannah needs time to think things through. It's a lot of money. With all due respect, Mom interrupted, not even looking at Helen. This is a family matter. Helen stays, I said firmly. And this isn't a family matter. It's my money, my decision. Dad stood up, his face darkening. Your grandfather would be ashamed. We raised you better than this. Better than what? I shot back, standing too. Better than wanting to help others? Better than making my own choices? You're being ridiculous, Mom said, her voice trembling. Think about your father's reputation in the community. Think about your sister Hope's future, about Tyron's. I cut in. I'm thinking about all the women in our community who never get a chance, who have great ideas but no support, who get told family first until their dreams die. The silence that followed was deafening. Well, Mom finally said, gathering her purse, I see you've made your choice. Don't come crying to us when you realize your mistake. They left without another word, the door slamming behind them. I collapsed onto the couch, my hands shaking again, but for entirely different reasons. Helen sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. You okay? No, I admitted, wiping away angry tears. But I will be. You know what the worst part is? They didn't even ask what I wanted. Not once. Just assumed they could decide for me, like always. So what are you going to do? I took a deep breath, straightening my shoulders. Exactly what I said. I'm starting that fund, and I'm going to make it so successful that they'll have to acknowledge that I made the right choice. Helen grinned. Now that sounds like a plan I can get behind. My phone buzzed again. A text from my younger brother Tyron. Just heard what happened. Mom and Dad are wrong. Do what you need to do. I've got your back. I smiled, feeling stronger already. Sometimes the family you choose understands you better than the family you're born into. And sometimes doing the right thing means being brave enough to stand alone. At least, I thought, looking at Helen and Tyron's message, I wasn't entirely alone. The first family dinner after the lottery win felt like walking into a minefield. I almost didn't go, but Tyron insisted. They're planning something, he warned over the phone that morning. Hope's been acting weird, and Mom's been cooking all day. You know she only makes her special lasagna when she wants something. He wasn't wrong. The moment I walked into my parents' house, the smell of Mom's famous lasagna hit me like a warm, manipulative hug. Savannah, Hope rushed to greet me, her smile too bright. We weren't sure you'd come. Wouldn't miss it, I replied, noting how she was wearing her business casual outfit, the one she usually saved for important meetings. Definitely not a good sign. Dad barely looked up from his newspaper when I entered the living room, but Mom emerged from the kitchen, wearing her pearl necklace, another red flag. She only wore those pearls when she needed to remind us of our family legacy. Perfect timing, Mom chirped. Dinner's ready. The tension around the dining table was thick enough to cut with a knife. Tyron sat next to me, occasionally squeezing my hand under the table when things got particularly uncomfortable. So, Hope started, carefully cutting her lasagna. I've been doing some research about family business investments. Hope, I warned. Just hear me out, she pressed. With proper investment, we could triple the business's value in 5 years. I've prepared a presentation. You prepared a presentation for dinner. I couldn't help but laugh. Seriously. This isn't a joke, Savannah, Dad finally spoke, putting down his fork. This is about securing our family's future. No, I countered. This is about controlling my choices. Again, Mom dabbed her lips with her napkin. Remember when you wanted to study art in college? We guided you toward business school instead, and look how well that turned out. Guided me, I scoffed. You threatened to cut me off completely if I didn't do what you wanted. We were protecting you, Mom insisted. Like you protected me when I wanted to start my own boutique. Hope suddenly interjected, surprising everyone. Or how you protected Tyron when he wanted to take that job in Seattle. Mom's face reddened. That's different, is it? Tyron spoke up, because from where I'm sitting, it looks exactly the same. Enough. Dad's fist hit the table, making the plates rattle. Savannah, you have a responsibility to this family. Your grandfather is dead, I finished firmly. And I'm not him. I'm not you either, Dad. I have my own plans, my own vision. Oh yes, your little charity project, Mom said dismissively. It's not charity, I shot back. It's investment in real people, real businesses. I've already met with financial advisors and lawyers. The framework is ready. You what? Dad's face turned purple. Without consulting us? I'm 28 years old. I don't need your permission. Hope leaned forward. But think about what this means for the family name. The family name. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. You mean the same family name that's becoming synonymous with outdated practices and failed business strategies. The same family business that's losing contracts because you won't modernize or adapt. How dare you? Dad started. No, how dare you? I was shaking now, but I couldn't stop. You want to know my plans? Fine. I'm starting a fund that will support women entrepreneurs in our community. Real support, not just money, but mentorship, networking, resources. And I'm announcing it at the Chamber of Commerce meeting next week. The silence that followed was deafening. You can't do this, Mom whispered. Watch me. Tyron stood up too. Actually, I want to help. I've been learning about sustainable business practices, and I think… Sit down, Dad ordered. No. Tyron replied quietly. I'm done sitting down. Hope looked between us all, conflict clear on her face. Maybe we should at least hear what Savannah has planned. Hope, Mom gasped. I'm just saying. Enough, Dad roared. Savannah, if you go through with this, You're no longer welcome in this house. I grabbed my purse, fighting back tears. Then I guess this is goodbye. Tyron followed me to the door. I'll call you tomorrow, he whispered. We'll figure this out. As I drove away, my phone buzzed with a text from Hope. I don't agree with how you're doing this, but I respect your courage. Be careful. I pulled over, finally letting the tears fall. My hands were shaking as I called Helen. They're never going to forgive me, I sobbed when she answered. Maybe not, she replied gently. But sometimes being right feels worse than being wrong. Come over, I've got wine and those terrible romance movies you love. I smiled through my tears, already turning toward her place. Sometimes family isn't about who shares your name. It's about who shares your vision. And right now, my vision was crystal clear, even if the path there wasn't. Your mission statement needs work, Helen said, red pen hovering over my draft. It sounds too apologetic. We were sitting in my newly rented office space. Nothing fancy, just a converted warehouse unit with exposed brick walls and huge windows. But it felt like possibility. What about empowering women entrepreneurs through strategic investment and mentorship? I suggested. Better. Helen scribbled notes. More confident. A knock interrupted us. Tyron poked his head in, grinning. Your first applicant is here. My heart jumped. Already? A young woman in a crisp linen blazer followed him in. Her natural hair was pulled back in a neat bun, and she carried a worn leather portfolio that had seen better days. I'm Adeline, she said, extending her hand. I know I'm early, but I couldn't wait. I've been following your social media announcements about the fund. Please, sit. I gestured to the second-hand couch I'd bought last week. Tell me about your business idea. Adeline's eyes lit up as she opened her portfolio. I call it Second Skin Sustainable Fashion. We take discarded luxury garments and transform them into new pieces, maintaining their high-end appeal while promoting sustainability. She spread out sketches and business projections. Her passion was infectious, her research thorough. This was exactly what I'd been hoping for. The problem is, she continued, traditional lenders don't take sustainable fashion seriously. They want fast fashion profits, like my family's warehouses full of cheap knockoffs, I muttered. What? Nothing. I shook my head. Tell me more about your target market. An hour later, Helen and I watched Adeline leave, both of us buzzing with excitement. She's perfect, Helen declared. Exactly the kind of entrepreneur you want to support. My phone buzzed, another voicemail from Dad. I played it on speaker. Savannah, this has gone far enough. You're embarrassing the family. The business community is talking. Your mother can barely show her face at church. If you don't stop this nonsense immediately. I deleted it before he could finish. Wow, Helen whistled. He's really pulling out all the stops. You should hear the ones from Mom, I sighed. All about how I'm breaking her heart and destroying our legacy. Tyron, who'd been quiet, suddenly spoke up. You know what's ironic? Dad's latest shipment of knockoff handbags just got seized at customs. The business is in worse shape than they're letting on. What? I spun around. How do you know? I still help with the books. Remember, they're desperate for your money, Savannah. More than they're admitting. My phone buzzed again. A text from Hope. Mom's organizing a family intervention. Don't come to Sunday dinner unless you want a guilt trip from every aunt and uncle in the state. Great, I groaned. Now they're mobilizing the entire extended family. Good thing we're mobilizing too, a new voice said. We all turned to see Mila, the business mentor I'd hired, standing in the doorway. Her gray-streaked hair was tied back in a practical ponytail, and she carried a stack of files. I've got 15 more applications from women entrepreneurs, she announced, dropping the files on my desk. Words spreading fast, I flipped through the applications, my excitement growing. Tech startups, artisanal food businesses, eco-friendly cleaning services. Each one unique, each one promising. This is really happening, I breathed. It sure is, Mila smiled. And wait until you see tomorrow's business journal. She pulled out her tablet, showing us the headline. Local heiress breaks family tradition to support women entrepreneurs. They interviewed me. I grabbed the tablet. They interviewed Adeline too, Mila said. She's already becoming our poster child for sustainable business practices. My phone exploded with notifications. Apparently, the article had just gone live. Messages from my parents started pouring in. "How dare you air our family business in public?" Dad's text read. "I raised you better than this," Mom wrote. But mixed in with their messages was one from an unknown number. "My daughter showed me your article. I've been running my business from my garage for 3 years. Can we talk?" Then another. "Is it true you're funding women-owned businesses? I have a patent pending." And another. Finally, someone understanding what we need. Tears blurred my vision as the messages kept coming. "You okay?" Helen asked softly. "Yeah," I wiped my eyes. I knew there was a need, but seeing it like this is bigger than your family drama now," Mila said firmly. "These women need you. Are you ready?" I looked around at my support system. Helen with her red pen, Tyron with his insider knowledge, Mila with her experience. Then I thought of Adeline's passionate pitch and all the other women waiting for their chance. "I'm ready," I said, straightening my shoulders. "Let's change some lives." "Your sister's been sitting in her car outside for 20 minutes, Helen announced, peering through the office blinds. I looked up from the grant application I was reviewing. Sure enough, Hope's silver SUV was parked across the street, her silhouette visible in the driver's seat. "Should we call security?" Mila asked, only half joking. "No," I sighed. "I'll handle it." The spring air was crisp as I crossed the street. Hope rolled down her window as I approached, looking uncomfortable in her corporate suit. "This isn't another intervention attempt, is it?" I asked. "No, She hesitated. "Can we talk? Somewhere private?" 5 minutes later, we were sitting in my office. Hope perched awkwardly on the edge of the couch, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. "Mom and Dad don't know I'm here," she blurted out. "They'd kill me if they knew." "Okay." "I saw Adeline's collection launch yesterday," Hope continued. "The sustainable fashion line you funded. It's amazing, Savannah. The press coverage alone." "I know," I smiled, thinking of Adeline's triumphant face at the launch party. "She's already got orders from 3 major retailers. That's actually why I'm here." Hope took a deep breath. "The family business is in trouble. Serious trouble." Tyron mentioned the customs issue. "It's worse than that," Hope interrupted. "Much worse. Dad's latest shipment wasn't just seized. He's facing potential charges for trademark infringement, and the banks threatening to call in their loans." My stomach dropped. Why didn't anyone tell me? Because Dad's too proud, and Mom's in denial. But that's not all. Hope leaned forward. "I've been doing research on your fund. The businesses you're supporting, they're actually making money, real money. While our family's stuck in the same old patterns, you're actually building something sustainable. That's the point," I said. "We provide more than just money. We offer mentorship, networking." "I want in," Hope blurted out. I blinked. "What?" "Not as a recipient," she clarified quickly. "As a mentor. Before I joined the family business, I got my MBA. I know about marketing, about brand development. I could help." Before I could respond, Tyron burst into the office, his face pale. "Savannah, you need to see this." He thrust his phone at me. It was a local news website, featuring a headline that made my blood run cold. "Blake family business under investigation. Federal agents raid warehouse." Hope's hand flew to her mouth. "Oh God, it's happening already." My phone started ringing, Mom's number flashing on the screen. I answered on speaker. "How could you do this to us?" she sobbed. "Was this your plan all along? To destroy your father's business?" "What? Mom, I had nothing to do with." "First you abandon us. Then you start that ridiculous fund. And now this? Your father's being questioned by federal agents." "Mom, stop." Hope interrupted. "Savannah didn't cause this. We did this to ourselves." "Hope? What are you doing there? Are you betraying us too?" Mila, who'd been quietly observing, stepped forward. Mrs. Blake, I'm Mila Rose, your daughter's business advisor. Perhaps we could schedule a meeting to discuss some potential solutions. Solutions? Mom's voice turned bitter. The only solution is for Savannah to come home and help save what's left of our family's legacy. Actually, Tyron said, I think Hope's right. Maybe it's time for the family business to evolve. The silence on the other end was deafening. Mom? I tried. Your father will never forgive this, she whispered, before hanging up. Hope buried her face in her hands. This is a nightmare. No, I said firmly. This is an opportunity. Hope, you said you want to help? Prove it. Help me show them there's a better way to do business. How? Start by meeting our entrepreneurs. See what they're building. Maybe there's a way to transform the family business into something we can all be proud of. Mila nodded approvingly. I have a workshop tomorrow. 10 women launching their businesses. Why don't you both come? Hope looked uncertain, but Tyron grinned. Count me in. Someone needs to document this for future family therapy sessions. Despite everything, I laughed. Looking at my siblings, Hope with her MBA and hidden dreams, Tyron with his quiet wisdom, I realized maybe this crisis was exactly what our family needed. You know Dad's going to fight this every step of the way, Hope warned. Probably, I agreed. But he can't fight success, and that's exactly what we're going to show him. My phone buzzed with a text from Helen. Just heard about your dad, coming over with emergency pizza and wine. Also, Adeline called. Wait until you hear her latest idea. I smiled. Sometimes the family you choose helps you fix the family you're born with. And sometimes it takes a crisis to build something better. The door to my office crashed open with such force that the Women's Empowerment Fund plaque fell off the wall. Dad stormed in, his face redder than I'd ever seen it, waving a newspaper. Is this what you wanted? He shouted, throwing the paper on my desk. To see your father in handcuffs on the front page. Dad, do you have any idea what this has done to our reputation? Your mother can't even go to the grocery store without people whispering. Hope and Tyron, who'd been in a meeting with me, stood up protectively, but I waved them back down. This confrontation had been brewing for weeks. Maybe, I said carefully, people are whispering because the business was selling knockoff products, not because I started a legitimate investment fund. Don't you dare take that tone with me, he growled. I built that business to give you children opportunities. Opportunities? Hope suddenly interjected. Like when you told me I couldn't start my own boutique because it would compete with family interests? Dad turned on her. You too. Has Savannah corrupted everyone in this family? Actually, Tyron spoke up. Savannah's the only one being honest about what this family needs. Honest? Dad laughed bitterly. You want honest? Fine. The business is finished. The bank's foreclosing. The suppliers have blacklisted us. And your mother's having anxiety attacks. Happy now? My heart clenched. Dad, sit down, please. Let's talk about this. Talk? Like you talked to us before starting this fund, before giving money to strangers instead of your own family. Those strangers are building successful, legal businesses, I countered. Adeline's sustainable fashion line just got picked up by 3 major retailers. Maria's tech startup just secured additional venture funding. These women are tearing our family apart. He slammed his fist on my desk. No, Dad. Hope said quietly. Your refusal to change is tearing us apart. The office door opened again, and Mom walked in, looking smaller and more tired than I'd ever seen her. Ibrahim, she said softly to Dad, the lawyers are waiting. Mom, I stood up. Stay, both of you. Let me show you what we're building here. Building? Dad scoffed. You're destroying everything we worked for. No, I pulled out a folder. I'm creating something new, something better. Look at these numbers. Look at the businesses we're supporting. Legal businesses. Sustainable businesses. Sustainable like Adeline's fashion line? Mom asked unexpectedly. I saw her interview in the business journal. Yes, I seized the opening. And she's just the beginning. We're not just giving out money. We're creating a network, a community. These women support each other, learn from each other. While our family business dies, Dad muttered. It doesn't have to, Tyron said. Savannah's fund could help us transition to legitimate business practices. Hope's got ideas for rebranding. You've all lost your minds, Dad interrupted, but I noticed his voice had lost some of its thunder. Dad, I tried one more time. You always taught us that family comes first, but maybe it's time to redefine what that means. Maybe it's not just about preserving the past. Maybe it's about building a better future. Mom touched Dad's arm. Ibrahim, maybe we should listen. Listen to our children telling us everything we did was wrong. Not wrong, I said softly. Just outdated. The world's changing, Dad. We need to change with it. He stared at me for a long moment, then at Hope and Tyron. Finally, he looked at Mom, who nodded slightly. Fine, he said gruffly. Show me these numbers you're so proud of. For the next hour, we walked them through everything. The successful businesses, the mentorship program, the community impact. Mom asked questions about Adeline's fashion line, while Dad grudgingly admitted some of our financial projections weren't completely ridiculous. As they were leaving, Mom hugged me for the first time in months. I still don't understand everything you're doing, she whispered, but I'm trying to. Dad just nodded stiffly before walking out, but he didn't slam the door this time. After they left, Hope collapsed onto the couch. Well, that was intense. But productive, Tyron added. Did you see Dad's face when you showed him Adeline's profit margins? My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Your father would never admit it, but he kept the folder with your business plans. He's reading it now. I smiled, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe sometimes, I said to my siblings, destroying something old is the only way to build something new. Speaking of building, Hope pulled out her laptop. Want to hear my ideas for rebranding the family business? Looking at my sister's excited face and my brother's supportive smile, I realized that sometimes the hardest battles lead to the most important victories. And maybe, just maybe, our family could become something stronger than before. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Adeline Jordan of Second Skin Sustainable Fashion. The conference room erupted in applause as Adeline took the stage. From my seat in the front row, I could see her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted the microphone, but her voice was steady and strong. 6 months ago, I was working from my garage, turning old designer clothes into new fashion statements. Today, thanks to the Women's Empowerment Fund, we have a full production facility, 28 employees, and contracts with major retailers. More applause. I felt Helen squeeze my hand excitedly. But the real success story, Adeline continued, isn't just about numbers. It's about community. Every piece we create is made by local artisans, many of whom are also fund recipients. We're not just making clothes, we're making change. In the middle of the audience, I spotted Mom, sitting straight-backed and proper, her expression unreadable. She'd shown up unexpectedly, slipping in just as the presentations began. After Adeline, 3 more entrepreneurs presented their success stories. Maria showcased her tech platform's growing user base. Sarah demonstrated her eco-friendly cleaning products. Jasmine revealed the expansion plans for her urban farming initiative. During the networking break, Mom approached me, clutching her handbag like a shield. That Adeline, she said carefully. She reminds me of you at her age. So determined. Before I could respond, Mila rushed over. Savannah, the reporter from Forbes is here. And you won't believe who else. Representatives from National Bank's Corporate Investment Division. Mom's eyebrows shot up. Forbes, excuse me, a woman in a sharp business suit interrupted. I'm Amanda from National Bank. We're very interested in discussing a partnership with your fund. Partnership, Mom and I said simultaneously. Amanda smiled. Your success rate with startups is impressive. We'd like to explore matching funds for future investments. Perhaps we could schedule a meeting. As Amanda walked away, Mom touched my arm. Savannah, I need to tell you something. Your father. She was interrupted by Hope, rushing over, her face flushed with excitement. The Sustainable Fashion Association wants Adeline to keynote their annual conference, and they're interested in our family's warehouse space for their next expo. Our warehouse, Mom frowned. But it's being foreclosed. Not if we move fast, Hope said. I've been running numbers. If we convert it into a sustainable fashion hub, with Adeline as anchor tenant. Hope, Mom cut in sharply. Your father would never. Actually, a gruff voice said behind us, I might consider it. We all spun around. Dad stood there, looking uncomfortable in his old suit, hands shoved in his pockets. Dad? I gasped. What are you doing here? He shifted awkwardly. Your mother's been showing me the news articles about your fund, about these women you're helping. He gestured at the room full of successful entrepreneurs. I thought I should see for myself. And, Hope prompted. And, he took a deep breath. I've been doing things the wrong way for a long time. The silence between us was heavy with years of conflict and misunderstanding. The warehouse, he continued finally. Hope's idea, it has merit. Better than watching the bank take it. Ibrahim, Mom whispered, touching his arm. I'm not saying I like everything about this, he added quickly. But I'm willing to listen. Before anyone could respond, Adeline approached our group. Mr. and Mrs. Blake, I just wanted to thank you personally. Your daughter's fund didn't just save my business. It showed me what's possible when someone believes in you. Dad stared at her for a long moment. You employ local workers? Yes, sir. 28 so far, with plans to hire 12 more next month. And your sustainable fashion. It makes money? Adeline smiled. Would you like to see our quarterly projections? To everyone's surprise, Dad nodded. I would, actually. As Adeline led my parents toward her presentation booth, Helen appeared at my side. Did I just see your dad voluntarily talking about sustainable fashion? I think, I said slowly, we just witnessed a miracle. More like the power of success, Mila commented, joining us. Nothing changes minds like solid profits and good press. My phone buzzed, an email from Forbes requesting an interview, then another from National Bank confirming a meeting, then a text from Tyrone. Dad just asked me to research sustainable fashion industry trends. Who is this man, and what did you do with our father? Looking around the room at all these successful women, at my sister's excited planning, at my parents actually listening to Adeline's presentation, I felt something shift. This wasn't just about proving my family wrong anymore. It was about proving something bigger, that change is possible, that success can come from unexpected places, and that sometimes the best revenge is simply doing the right thing well. So, Hope said, rejoining us with a grin, ready to help me convince Dad to paint the warehouse pink. Let's not push our luck, I laughed, one miracle at a time. The warehouse definitely needs better lighting, Adeline said, her heels clicking on the concrete floor. But the bones are good. Dad trailed behind us, hands clasped behind his back, watching as Adeline gestured at various spaces. This could be the main production area, here, a showroom, and that mezzanine would make perfect office space. The electrical will need updating, Dad muttered, but I noticed he was taking mental notes. Already got quotes, Hope chimed in, waving her tablet. The sustainable energy grants could cover 40% of the costs. A month had passed since the conference, and somehow we'd managed to get Dad to consider converting his failing warehouse into a sustainable fashion hub. The bank had agreed to halt foreclosure proceedings while we developed the new business plan. And you really think other designers will rent space here? Dad asked skeptically. We already have 6 interested tenants, Adeline replied. All fund recipients, all with proven track records. Speaking of track records, Mom's voice echoed as she entered through the side door. The newspaper is here. A young reporter followed her in, notebook in hand. Mr. Blake, is it true you're transitioning from import-export to sustainable fashion? That's quite a change. Dad straightened his shoulders, and I held my breath, waiting for his response. Sometimes, he said slowly, you have to adapt or die. My daughter taught me that. I nearly dropped my phone in shock. Mom beamed. And Ms. Blake, the reporter turned to me. How does it feel to see your fund's success inspiring your family's business transformation? Before I could answer, a commotion at the entrance interrupted us. Mila burst in, followed by Helen and several suited executives. They're here early, Mila announced breathlessly. The National Bank investment team. Now, Hope squeaked, smoothing her blazer. We haven't even finished the presentation. Actually, the lead executive stepped forward. We've seen enough. Your fund's success rate, combined with this warehouse conversion project, we're prepared to make an offer. Dad's eyebrows shot up. What kind of offer? Full financing for the warehouse renovation, plus matching funds for the next round of entrepreneur grants. The reporter scribbled frantically. There's one condition, the executive continued. We want this to be a pilot program. If successful, we'll replicate it in other cities. Replicate, Mom whispered. Your daughter's model works, the executive explained. Small business incubation, sustainable practices, community investment. It's the future of ethical business. Dad sat heavily on a nearby crate. The future, he repeated softly. Ibrahim, Mom touched his shoulder. This could save everything. Make it better, even. Could we? Dad cleared his throat. Could we keep the family name on the building? Of course, Adeline said quickly. How about Blake's Sustainable Fashion Hub? The reporter raised her hand. Could I get a photo? The whole family, plus Adeline. This is quite a story. Local business, reborn, through next-generation leadership. As we gathered for the photo, I felt Mom slip her hand into mine. I'm sorry, she whispered, for not believing in you sooner. Smile, the reporter called. Later, as the executives discussed details with Dad and Hope, Adeline pulled me aside. You know what's ironic, she said. If your parents hadn't fought you so hard about the fund, you might never have pushed to make it this successful. And without that success, without it, we couldn't save the family business, I finished. Talk about karma. Sometimes the best revenge is massive success, Helen quipped, joining us. It's not about revenge anymore, I realized. It's about evolution. Speaking of evolution, Tyrone called out. Dad's asking about installing solar panels. Who is this man, and what have you done with our father? We all laughed, watching Dad enthusiastically discuss renewable energy with the bank executives. Mom was showing the reporter old photos of the warehouse on her phone, pride evident in her voice as she described its upcoming transformation. Ms. Blake, one of the executives approached me. We'd like to discuss expanding your role. With the pilot program rolling out nationally, we need someone with your vision at the helm. My phone buzzed, a text from Hope. See, told you burning bridges sometimes lights the way forward. I looked around the warehouse, at Adeline sketching designs with her team, at Mom and Dad embracing change instead of fighting it, at my siblings finding their own paths within our new family legacy. You know what's funny? I said to Helen. I started this fund to prove my parents wrong. Instead, it proved that sometimes the right thing and the smart thing are the same thing. And that families can change, she suggested. That too. I smiled, watching Dad actually laugh at something Adeline said. That too. The warehouse might still need better lighting, but our future had never been brighter. And now, to cut the ribbon for the Blake Sustainable Fashion Hub, the mayor announced. We have 3 generations of the Blake family. Dad stepped forward first, looking sharp in his new suit. One of Adeline's designs, of course. Mom stood beside him, wearing a proud smile and a sustainable silk scarf. Hope, Tyron, and I completed the line, holding the oversized scissors together. Ready? Dad whispered, his hands steady on the scissors. Together. The ribbon fell, and applause erupted from the crowd gathered in front of the transformed warehouse. The building's facade gleamed with solar panels and living walls, while the new logo, designed by Hope, sparkled in recycled metal letters. I never thought I'd see the day, Helen murmured beside me. Your dad actually wearing sustainable fashion. I never thought I'd see him smiling at a grand opening that wasn't for a discount store, Tyron added. Inside, the space buzzed with energy. Adeline's showroom dominated the ground floor, while other entrepreneurs we'd funded occupied carefully designed spaces throughout the building. The mezzanine housed our fund's offices, where Mila was already conducting tours for potential investors. Savannah, Mom called, waving me over to where she stood with a group of her church friends. Tell them about the employment program. As I explained how we'd created jobs for local artisans, I watched Dad showing some business associates around. He stopped at each entrepreneur's space, proudly introducing them like they were family. Remember when he couldn't even say the word sustainable without grimacing? Hope whispered, appearing at my elbow. Remember when Mom cried because I wouldn't invest in knockoff handbags? I whispered back. I heard that, Mom said, joining us. And I was wrong. We were all wrong. She squeezed my hand. But you showed us a better way. Mrs. Blake, Adeline approached, carrying a garment bag. The prototype is ready. Mom's eyes lit up. She'd been collaborating with Adeline on a line of sustainable fashion for elegant, mature women, as she put it. Watching my mother transform from skeptic to enthusiastic sustainable fashion advocate had been one of the most surprising developments of all. Ibrahim, Mom called, come see our new design. As my parents huddled with Adeline over the prototype, Helen nudged me. Look who just walked in. A group of national bank executives entered, led by their CEO, but it was the woman with them who caught my attention. The same loan officer who'd rejected my first business loan application 2 years ago. She recognized me too, approaching with an awkward smile. Ms. Blake, congratulations on all your success. Thank you, I replied, keeping my voice neutral. Would you like a tour? We could start with our profit margins. She flushed, but before she could respond, Dad called everyone to attention. I'd like to say something, he announced, his voice carrying across the space. The crowd quieted. When my father started this business, he had a dream of creating a legacy. For years, I thought protecting that legacy meant never changing. I was wrong. He gestured around the transformed warehouse. This is what legacy really means. Not clinging to the past, but building a better future. And I have my daughter Savannah to thank for showing me that. And Hope and Tyron, Mom added quickly, making everyone laugh. And Hope and Tyron, Dad agreed. But mostly, I want to thank all these incredible entrepreneurs who trusted us with their dreams. You're not just renting space here, you're part of our family now. Speaking of family, Adeline stepped forward. We have an announcement. The Sustainable Fashion Hub model is being adopted by 5 other cities. Mrs. Blake will be heading up the mentorship program, and Mr. Blake will be advising on the conversions of industrial spaces. My parents beamed, and I felt tears prick my eyes. A year ago, they couldn't imagine life beyond their failing business. Now they were pioneering a national movement. You did this, Helen whispered. You changed everything. We did this, I corrected, watching Hope show off her marketing plans to the bank executives, while Tyron explained our solar power system to interested investors. All of us. The loan officer approached again, this time more hesitant. Ms. Blake, we're launching a new division focused on sustainable business loans. Would you consider serving on our advisory board? I smiled, thinking of all the future entrepreneurs who might need someone to believe in them. I'd be honored. Savannah, Mom called. Come take a family photo. As I joined my family in front of Adeline's window display, I realized something profound. Sometimes the greatest act of love isn't protecting what is, but fighting for what could be. And sometimes the family business isn't about the business at all. It's about the family and how it grows together. Everyone say, sustainable, the photographer called. And we did together, laughing at how far we'd come and excited about where we were going.